For me personally, Netflix has been on quite the streak with films like Klaus, Irishman, Marriage Story, and we got a new film today by Netflix, and that is the Michael Bay 6 Underground. Do they continue that hot streak? Well, we'll talk about that and much more. Underground was directed by Michael Bay and stars Ryan Reynolds. Meet a new kind of action hero. 6 untraceable agents totally off the grid. They've buried their past so that they can change the future. What's going on, everybody? And happy Friday the 13th. Elliot here with a brand new review, and today we're talking about the new Netflix action film directed by Michael Bay and starring Ryan Reynolds. We're talking about 6 Underground today, and I am going to share my thoughts with you all and let you know if it's something worth streaming over the weekend. But before we dive into this spoiler-free review, definitely consider subscribing to my channel. Hit that bell so you can stay updated with all my latest Netflix reviews, movie reviews, TV reviews, and all the fun things we do on this channel. And if and when you've seen this film, 6 Underground, I want to know what you all thought of this film, the pros, the cons. How many people died in this movie? Because I lost count after the first scene. How many cars were exploded? Let me know in the comments. Let's have some fun discussions down there. So before I jump into it also, too, we're doing a giveaway on my channel, 2 actually. One for It Chapter 2 and the other is for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. So if you're interested in winning these movies, stick around to end this video so you can find out how you can win. So let's jump into it. About a month and a half ago, maybe 2 months ago, I did a review or a trailer reaction to this actual movie. And right off the bat, you know what you're getting into. It's a Michael Bay film. If you've seen all the Transformer movies, you've seen all his other movies in recent years, you know what you're walking into in this film. And I'm going to start off with the positives, and I'm going to leave the negative and my overall thoughts towards the end. But let's start off with the positives, right? Ryan Reynolds. I can see some people kind of being like, it's just Ryan Reynolds playing Deadpool, playing, the character he played in Bodyguard, or him playing, characters we've seen in the last 10 years. But to me, that's fine. I'm a big Ryan Reynolds fan. I love his little stick that he has, the comedy chops mixed in with the action. I'm a big fan of his work, and he's Ryan Reynolds in this film, and I enjoy that because, again, I'm a big fan of his. And he actually gets the opportunity to kind of play another superhero in a sense. In this movie, they refer to him as a Bruce Wayne Batman character because he's a billionaire, and he kind of brings this family together, kind of like the Bat family in a sense. But in this family, you have a variety of different characters. You have an ex-Marine sniper. You have a doctor. You have a parkour guy. You have an old kind of hitman guy. You have all these different characters that come together, and Ryan Reynolds puts them together, and it's an interesting group. I'll say that it took me a while, and by a while, I'll probably say it was about an hour and a half into the film where I finally kind of got used to this group of characters and kind of got a little idea of their backstory and their characteristics. And that's when I was kind of on board, like literally more than halfway through the film. But by the end of the movie, I kind of liked the group. The Corey Hawkins, his storyline kind of stood out for me. One of my favorite characters. Again, I love Ryan Reynolds, but my standout in this film was Lorne Laurent, who was the character, who was an actress that I love in Inglourious Basterds. She's a really great actress, and I really enjoyed her character in this film. She was she was a badass, and she had this kind of mysterious element to her, and kind of had this little interesting storyline that I ended up finding a little charming towards the end. But all in all, I was pretty satisfied with how things wrapped up with the group. Now, as far as other positives, again, this is a big action movie, and within the first 20 minutes, this is one of the biggest car chases I've ever seen. But there were 2 kind of set pieces that really impressed me, and that was, one was, they were at this tower, and it involved Corey Hawkins taking out this swimming pool in the water. I thought that was pretty cool, even though there was some very similar shots to one of the Transformers films when the tower in Chicago fell down, the characters were falling out. There's a lot of repetitive Michael Bay stuff, and a lot of shots that we've seen in previous films. He tends to do that a lot, but I like that sequence. And then the sequence at the kind of the back half of the film that involves a boat and involves Ryan Reynolds and some magnets. I thought that was pretty cool and pretty impressive. It got a little repetitive at times, but I thought that was a really cool set piece. So those were definitely some set pieces I liked. Outside of that, there were some okay laughs, and we'll talk about the comedy element and my cons, but there were some okay laughs. But again, I think that my biggest takeaway was those 2 action set pieces were pretty impressive, and I liked the camaraderie by the group in this film. So let's transition into some of my criticism. And I'm not going to touch on a lot of the stuff that I know I don't like about Michael Bay, which is the unnecessary explosions, the slow motion shots, the going behind a female character and showing her from a different angle. I'm not a fan of all that stuff. And you get a lot of that in this movie. And you get, again, Michael Bay. he is a habit of creature. He has his shots, he has his set pieces, he has these things that he continues to use from things that he did almost 15 years ago, from like The Island to Bad Boys. He uses a lot of the same shots. And it's just, again, he's a creature of habit. But I'm not going to talk about those things, even though I just did. But my major criticism with this film is I don't know why Michael Bay continues to think that he's a funny director. He brings in these writers from Deadpool who are actually, I think, are really solid writers, and Deadpool shows you, Deadpool 1 and 2, there's very good comedic chops, and some of that is, improv for Ryan Reynolds, but something about Michael Bay and comedy does not mix well. I don't know, is it the way he shoots the comedy? I don't know if it's his timing, and not the actor's timing, but like where he places it in the movies. Comedy does not work for Michael Bay at all. Again, there's a couple laughs that I have, but more or less, like 90% of the jokes just feel completely flat for me. Another thing about this film is that it is way too long. This movie is 2 hours and like 10 minutes, and it could have been like an hour and a half, to be honest with you. They try to throw in, again, you can applaud the writers and Michael Bay to try to bring in this kind of like, this is a 90s film made in 2019, and he tried to bring in these like elements of like a tyrant, and the country is not in a good place, and this is where Ryan Reynolds comes into place. They try to bring in this like integral storyline, and they could have literally cut out like literally 40 to 50 minutes of this movie. It was a lot of unnecessary flashbacks, present time, connections with certain things, family members being involved. I thought it was way too much. And literally, I'm going to say this right now. If you're not, this is how you're going to determine if you're going to enjoy this film. If you're not up to speed or feeling the first 20 minutes of this film, which is, by the way, the biggest like chase scene I've ever seen, it has to be one of the most expensive, then you're not going to be on board with this film. Again, the way I'm leaning towards this film after just watching it about 20 minutes ago, there were some things I liked about this film. This was like going to a buffet, like a Michael Bay buffet. There's things that, oh yeah, I like that food, I'm going to get that on my, my first plate. And there's things that I just did not want to touch, look at, smell at. And there's just things in this film that Michael Bay does not do well at all. Again, he's a very, very habit of creature. He knows what he likes. He likes action. He likes the military stuff. He likes the slow motion, and that's fine. But for me, it did not work. There's some Michael Bay films that I love. Bad Boys 1 and 2, I love. Armageddon, Pain and Gain. I like, 13 Hours. The movie that's slipping my mind right now with Sean Connery and Nicolas Cage. But there is just that the whole Transformer franchise in this movie kind of mixes together without robots. But I don't know, man. Michael Bay, good to you, man. You found Netflix to give you $150 million to do. Literally, this is probably the craziest Michael Bay movie I've ever seen. This is the most deaths I've seen in a Michael Bay film, like violent deaths, like over-the-top heads exploding, knives and knives cutting people's heads off, and the most cars I've seen being exploded. Like, I think Michael Bay and Vin Diesel need to talk and maybe do when everyone wants to see Fast and Furious in space, you need Michael Bay to do that film, because that man knows how to destroy some cars. So with that being said, this isn't a good movie, but you might love this film. This is a straight up 90s action film that's made in this 2019, almost 2020, timeline. So with that, I'm giving it a 2 out of 5, but you might love this film. So definitely check it out if you have nothing else to check out this weekend, which there's Jumanji, which I reviewed on my channel. There's some TV shows, but hey, if you want to watch a literally crazy Michael Bay film, this might be for you. But for me, I'm giving it a 2 out of 5. So that's my thoughts of the film. Like I had mentioned up top, click the link above my head to let you know how you can win these movies. Comment below, like and share this video. Like I said, subscribe to my channel. Hit that bell so you can stay up to date with my content. Check out my reviews for The Mandalorian, The Morning Show, and I got some stuff coming out this weekend, some more TV reviews from Apple TV, Servant, as well as Watchmen, the season finale this Sunday, so keep an eye out for those videos. Follow me on all my social media accounts. Thank you all again for watching this review, and we'll see you in the next video.